Can you introduce yourself for me, please?
Laura Green, University of Warwick.
Right, you're a professor of...
I'm a veterinary epidemiologist, so I work on infectious diseases in farm animals, and I'm also very interested in animal welfare.
Okay, so you're here at the new Optimists Forum, and you talked about abattoirs. You visit quite a lot.
Yes, I've been to a few abattoirs as part of the research that I do. And it's really just to highlight that there's a lot of concern that very large abattoirs are not nice places and small abattoirs are much better ways for animals to end their lives. And in fact, I would say that's not necessarily the case at all. When you go to large abattoirs, because of the mechanisation, they're up to EU standard, you find that the animals are often very well managed. They have a very good pre-slaughter experience, and the facilities for when they're actually killed are very good indeed, and sometimes that can be lacking in the sort of small to medium size abattoirs. I should say there are very small abattoirs, or sort of artisan abattoirs, where maybe they kill one animal at a time, where again the care can be very good indeed.
But what does that mean for people who want to live in a city like Birmingham but care about what happens to the meat that they're going to eat?
Well, I think I guess it's about being informed. Know where the animals come from, and actually maybe be prepared to accept that animals were alive and that the meat food that you eat comes from a live animal, and therefore take an interest in where that animal has come from. I think that maybe the big concerns are that we have a small number of large abattoirs, so animals are then transported a long way to be slaughtered, and then the products are transported a long way back to their end product. So I guess that can be a huge concern.
But you're also talking about the possibility of, using sort of East Birmingham or somewhere like this, a place where actually we would have a large abattoir and animals would come here.
Yeah. I was being a little bit controversial, I suppose.
There's
a lot of stuff in the press about the fact that large dairy farms, I think, is really what's come up. And if you listen to the Archers, it's actually quite a small dairy farm they're thinking of at 1,500 cows. But you could imagine this idea where, in fact, we had very large facilities where we had animals producing milk. There's a byproduct from animals that produce milk, which is the male animals, which they then go off for consumption to be grown up as beef animals, and the abattoir could be next door. And in fact, if you look at some of the ideas that are being proposed, they're quite good in terms of the biofootprint, in that there's lots of recyclables that could come about from having all of those things close together. So, for example, manure could go over to the east and be used to grow some of the cereals, which are then required to feed the cattle. So, it was pointed out that's not going to be the solution, but I think maybe it's just thinking a little bit outside the box, that it isn't only tradition that we need to think about. I would stress in that those animals need to have very good quality of life, but they can get that if they have purpose-built buildings and access to the open air, not necessarily grass, believe it or not, that's not necessarily good for cattle, and they have very good care, and those very large facilities could have their own vets that are working there 24 hours a day, so it could be a win-win.